There we go. How are you, Bonnie?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm just fine. I'm actually feeling pretty good this morning. Thank you.
I was happy to catch you because kids went back to school this week. And migrating my 6-year-old and 2-year-old into the same room. So I've been going, I see. I've been falling asleep before like 9:30 most nights because I lay down to try to get them to go to sleep and then I'm just out.
I hear you. I've been there, done that.
So yeah, he's so yeah, like I said, we have no crickets right now, but we have Sebastian. Say hi.
Hello, Sebastian.
So he said hello. I think I've got him occupied for about 5 minutes. Made him a lawn chair car ramp. So
five minutes is golden, maybe. Is it not?
Right? Yes. Yes. But yeah, I was actually super excited to see when it popped up this morning because I'm like, oh, I can still get on the show or still listen in because I tried to listen in. I think it was the dream one and like ironically fell asleep. Because I was so tired.
Well, if that's not an advertisement for my show, I don't think anything is.
No, it has nothing to do with you. It's literally that getting up at 6 o'clock again is, and the little one waking up multiple times a night has just been wreaking havoc on my sleep. So.
Oh yeah. Well, you know as well as I do that is relatively temporary. And
yeah.
I've got
19-year-old and a 17-year-old, so I remember this.
Oh,
really
yes.
well.
You've been through the trenches. Yeah.
Yes. I'm about to go through it again.
Well, that begs the question, though. Why did you decide to go through it again?
We didn't, actually.
Surprise?
Super surprised. So, somewhat TMI, my husband had a vasectomy after our daughter. And we had Jameson.
Mm-hmm.
And then when right before I got pregnant with Sebastian, I was having some lady issues. My tubes were blocked, so they decided to take them both out. Went in to have the surgery, had the surgery, was checked for endometriosis and a bunch of other things, so lots of messing around. And about 3 weeks later, I was super sick and I thought I had an infection. And the nurse said, oh, could you be pregnant? And I'm like, oh, did you look at my file? No. And I was like, shit. Sure enough, somehow with 2 blocked tubes and that surgery, this little guy survived.
And a vasectomy.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Well, that has been known to happen for sure.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. They have no idea because obviously blocked tubes mean, certain things aren't happening and It's okay. You're okay. I know they're noisy.
5 minutes must be up.
We live on a main road, and he's been walking to the bus stop with us.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how the diesel engines, when they downshift, it's really loud.
Yeah,
One
Jake
startled
brakes.
the crap out of him. Yeah, the other day. So now anytime a larger vehicle drives up or down our road, he's like covering his ears.
Oh yeah.
He's just gonna unfortunately have to get used to it. We're not moving anytime soon. So I think he'll get over it.
Oh,
eventually.
for sure.
I think it's just that initial shock just scared the hell out of him.
Yeah. That happens.
Yeah. And their ears are so sensitive. They haven't been deafened yet, like the rest of us. So
right.
There.
Right.
Is that better? There you go.
Well, I got to be honest. I kind of missed that, but fortunately, for most of us, when we're missing that time of our kids' lives, then grandchildren pop up, and you get to relive it. But the nice part about it is grandchildren have batteries. You get to hand them back to their parents.
Right. Exactly. And I keep thinking about the fact that like our house is probably never going to be like devoid of children. Like it's, by the time these guys start to get older, my other 2 will be, adults and possibly having kids of their own. Hopefully not too soon.
Yeah, it's far too soon right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, one just graduated last year and one's graduating this year. So.
Wow, you're busy. You are busy.
Yeah. little bit. But this guy's the only one left at home right now. But yeah, I just wanted to jump in while I had a chance and say I'm really glad that you're doing the Friday show, because at least that gives me a chance to watch live versus what. I mean, I like to watch the replays too, but I like the interaction, with people.
Yeah. One of the reasons I started this channel, of course, it's so much fun. When they're good people. Were you watching?
Yeah, and I get so little in-person adult interaction anymore. I mean, most of my conversation is with the little guys. So.
Oh yeah.
You don't realize how much you miss it until you get a little bit, and then you just crave. You lock yourself in the bathroom for 10 minutes. Just leave me alone for 10 minutes. Talking to people my age.
Well, it's funny you say that, because my wife was she was an at-home mom for the first 3 years. Mm-hmm. And she did the same thing. Cabin fever and lack of adult conversation got to her, because I was gone most of the day. In fact, I was gone more than most of the day because I was pulling double shifts on a lot of times. And
my husband too.
Yeah, she had to go back into the workforce. Had to.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's.
Well, fortunately for you. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'll wait for Sebastian.
He's. It's not sunny, dude. Okay, get your hat then. Come on, you got this. That's one thing I don't tolerate is whining.
Yeah.
He's at that age. Everybody talks about the terrible twos. He's going to be 3 next month. All of mine didn't seem to hit that until late 2s, early 3s, and then just doubled it.
Yeah, double down on terrible 2s.
I'm at least it's short-lived, but man, the tantrums, I'm just dude, you're number 4. I've been through this already multiple times.
Yes.
No, you're not getting anything from me until you ask nicely.
Exactly. I love that.
You're not dying of thirst. You're not dehydrated. You're not starving. Other than when they're sick, obviously, really not feeling well, that's different. But yeah, even then I'm kind of trying to coax them back, calm them down, and coax them into speaking appropriately, asking nicely for things, because that's the one thing I can't stand is watching some of these kids running around demanding things from their parents and they're jumping.
Oh, yeah.
You're just cultivating horrible behavior.
Yes.
Nobody in the outside world is going to respond to that in a positive way.
That is so true. That is so true, Bonnie. I'm happy as hell to hear you say that. Gives me hope for humankind.
Yeah, sorry. Are you taking him inside? That's my oldest.
Oh.
He actually, I say this, it's hard to phrase, but my oldest is on the spectrum, on the higher end of the,
you talking about the autism?
Asperger's, yeah.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Autism spectrum. So meltdowns were a regular thing, and meltdowns are different than tantrums. Meltdowns usually result from sensory overload, system overload, having different perspectives on situations and whatnot. But I got lots of extra practice about learning myself, and then teaching coping mechanisms for younger kids. So I feel really blessed and grateful that he was my first.
Yes.
Because that kind of set the precedence for everybody else. Versus had I kind of been going along parenting and maybe he had been the 4th, I'd have been whoa.
Yeah, what is going on? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It was still crazy learning experience for all of us, but it definitely helped me understand the capabilities kids really have that most people don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
The responsibility and the independence and all the things that kids do now at younger ages that I didn't do as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely taught me a lot, that's for sure, about human behavior and psychology and all of those things.
Yeah, and arguably, very importantly, would be patience.
Yes.
Because it takes patience is what those parents that you were just talking about lack.
Yeah.
giving them
Yeah, because
everything
they
they
just want to
want.
make it stop right now. Make
Yep.
it stop now. And they don't realize that the more, and I'm guilty of this too. I've definitely had my moments where I'm just like, okay. But
Oh, we all are. We all have our limits. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But you gotta balance that.
yeah, are you going in with your brother? Are you taking him downstairs?
No,
I thought that's why you came to get him. No?
no, no.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I keep track of him. That's, yeah. Huh? I'm live. Say hi.
Total slice of life here, folks.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you've talked to Mike on several occasions. I remember the first time I got on with Mike on a video call. It wasn't live. It was just us talking about YouTube.
Oh, you talking about?
You want to talk about patience?
You talking about Mike Van Duzy? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Patience, because it was just the beginning of summer, or maybe it was a weekend, but I had all four of them were at home, and the one was trying to keep running out. Sebastian kept running out the back gate, and there's an alleyway back there, so he can't be out there. And so he was watching my phone do this, bouncing up and down, and like, I'll be right back because I'm gonna yell, and I don't want to yell in your ear and that kind of stuff. And it's just constant, like a half-hour conversation took us, I think, like an hour and a half, and that's pretty common when you have little guys. But like, he just had no issues with it at all, and that was just great, because that was a lot of what I ran into in the beginning of getting on social. Was other people's lack of patience stopped me from doing a lot of things, because it was like, I can't lock them in a cage. Like, I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
In most states, yes.
Yeah, right. But like, it is. It's my everyday life. I'm not gonna. I can't just up and walk out the door and.
Oh no.
You
You can't put it on hold. Not at this stage.
That's
Nope.
it. That's
Mhm.
exactly it. It's not. And even nap time. Sebastian does still nap, thank God. But in the summertime, that doesn't mean anything for the rest of them. So,
Exactly.
but,
Yeah, nap times are golden sometimes, aren't they?
Yeah. That's my 2-hour focus on anything that I need like actual concentration for, because the rest of the day he's getting older, so it'll get easier, but it's still my concentration is lacking a good part of the day.
Oh yeah.
And I don't like to put him, like, he has tablet time, but I don't like to use that unless it's absolutely necessary. I don't like to use that as like a babysitter, kind of like we did, TV was back in the day. Now
Sure.
it's tablets or
Mhm.
devices.
Yeah.
So that's why I set him out here with a car ramp, something different.
Absolutely. Outdoors, kids. Get outdoors. Parents, get your kids out of doors.
Yeah, well, you can tell. I mean, it's kind of cleaned up right now, but yeah, our backyard is usually pretty trashed, and it doesn't look like any of my neighbors, because none of them have little kids. Yeah, I know it's toys, but still, from the street, it looks like a mess. It's like, I don't even care anymore. I'm like past that for the most part, unless I have to cut the grass.
Oh yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
I definitely get glaring looks about it.
How many toys have you chewed up with your lawnmower?
Actually not too many, because we're in Pennsylvania. I know you're not too far away, but we have a lot like crabgrass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't get super high.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you see them.
Yeah, we've lost a few Nerf darts, a Hot Wheel or two, some Legos. But nothing too bad. Nothing major.
Yeah, I used to chew up a pretty good amount of them, and now it's all dog toys since I'm an empty nester. But I still get a lot of them.
Yeah. Plus, things are so brightly colored now.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I think that's how I miss some of the Hot Wheels, because they kind of like blend in.
Mm-hmm.
The Nerf darts some of them are green, which I think is really dumb, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I guess we have to go buy more. But
Oh, those things are a dime a dozen, and you will find those when you're an empty nester. You will find those for the rest of your life in that yard if you stay there.
that's what I've
Believe me.
heard. I get my neighbor throws over a handful from her yard every once in a while. I know they're all probably down behind the hedges again. And, yeah.
They must be getting a lot of use then. I know my boys. He just moved into a place a few months ago, And apparently they had kids that have those Nerf darts, and they just show up everywhere. I mean, everywhere.
Yeah, the next place I need to check is my gutter, because I know they've shot some up there. Yeah. And my gutter's starting to act a little funky.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I need is Nerf darts stuck in the sewer.
Well, so, if you have a chance, put in those. If you can't put in the screens on top, put in those captures right before the downspouts. That will solve a lot of your problems. They just slip right in the hole, inside the gutter on the downspout. Yeah. And they will keep leaves from going down there. Now you got to clean them out, of course, but it keeps them from clogging the downspouts.
Okay, I'll have to definitely look into that, because we've got quite a bit gutter here and then on the garage too, and I found all kinds of strange things in the gutters.
As we all do.
So, but I want to say thanks. They just won the house. I don't know what they're doing. I want to say thanks for letting me jump on, and hopefully I'll be able to make this, come on Fridays. I'd still like to talk about the campaign at some point. I had to put some of it on hold just because my health kind of took a nosedive for a couple weeks. But I'm going to be doing a name change, I think, after talking to Mike and John and a couple other people, because my name doesn't really fit what I'm doing on YouTube or across social media. And speaking of Nerf gun, don't you shoot me. Ow!
Speak of the devil.
Shit!
Did they hear us?
I didn't even ground that one.
They didn't hear you. You're on headphones. I was wondering if they heard us talking about them.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, and I didn't. I bought generic ones because I bought a giant case of them. And the tip, they hurt, and I didn't realize, you could. I mean, basically, you have to break them in.
Yes.
But those, when they come fresh out of the package, they're plastic tip. Those sting. They leave welts. I'm like, I never would have bought them had I known they were that. Especially for the little guys.
Yeah.
Sebastian will get hit in the crossfire, and he's bawling his eye. Yeah, I see. Thanks. Sebastian took the Nerf dart off his big brother. That's hilarious. Threw it outside.
You got an inside man working for you.
Yeah. Don't shoot mommy. Don't shoot mommy.
Don't shoot mommy.
So, but yeah, I wanted to say thank you, and hopefully, like I said, I'm hoping that once we get more into the school year and sleep gets better, I'll be able to jump on some of the later shows as well. But I'm glad that there's this alternative, because I miss seeing everybody. I really enjoy doing that every night.
Well, we love having you, and I'm so glad you were able to come on. And you're welcome anytime. I'm interested in the changes you're going through with your channeling your social media. So you have to keep us posted on that for sure.
Yeah, I'm still going to be making the same content, but as John and Mike pointed out, my name doesn't give any clue to what I'm doing with the campaign. And although I'm going to be posting personal videos on there, they're still related to the building of the campaign, the Unbreakable campaign. So I'm now trying to figure out a name change that describes me but includes the campaign. So I'm gonna probably write down some ideas and then bounce them off different people, pop in your lives, some other people's lives, and just say, what do you think of when you hear this name? Does that make sense for what I'm doing? Because I hadn't honestly thought about that part of it until they brought it up, and I was like, you know what, you're right. If that's the impression you're getting, that means that's probably pretty common.
Yes.
And that's not going to work. So, especially not for branding. Right.
And branding is very, very important.
Yeah.
One, for getting your name out, but also for helping people understand, what your mission is. So
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Bonnie, you're welcome back anytime to bounce things off me and my great audience here. And
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And wish you a lot of luck with the little guy.
Thanks. Yeah, he's a handful. Though, like I said, things have calmed down. Him and his brother were starting to like literally claw each other's eyes out there for the last couple weeks of summer. Sebastian mostly is the scratching thing.
It's a phase.
Jameson's pretty patient. Yeah, he's pretty patient and forgiving for the most part, but at the same time, I'm like, you can't let him beat on you. Like, hit him back once, don't hurt him, but like, let him know he can't do that to you, because me putting him in timeout is obviously not working.
Yeah.
It's not enough of a punishment. So
Yeah, sometimes you got to learn by hard knocks. I remember my father allowing me and my sister to just go at each other instead of trying to split us up, and that stopped us from going after each other.
yeah, I
Literally.
believe it. And see, this is all new territory for me, because my older two had a completely different dynamic. They did a lot of parallel play
Mm-hmm.
and really didn't step on each other's toes too much until they got way older.
Yeah.
And you know, they basically learned how to problem solve. Too many trucks. We can go back in the house if it's bothering your ears. They learned how to problem solve and compromise pretty early on.
Yeah.
Because unless things were starting to get super nasty, which they rarely did, I kind of just stayed out of it. Or if one would come to tattle, I'm like, you need to go work it out. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yes.
You know, you're not dying, so you're not bleeding. You know,
Well,
very old school.
Yeah, very old school, and I love hearing that. You know, if you, that's the thing. We were just talking about that a little bit ago. If you're solving problems for your kids and not allowing them to solve problems, they don't have the tools to solve those problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is about, especially when they're getting older. I mean, they would get mad at me frequently about different things. And I'm like, look, I know you don't want to hear this, but when you turn 18, I legally have no intervention. You need to learn how to handle it, especially with my oldest. Like, he got bullied something awful, and people were kind of astounded by my somewhat hands-off approach, but they also didn't see what was going on behind the scenes with him. Like, there was a lot of psychology involved with, you know, and repetition, because social concepts that you and I would pick up on fairly easily would take him months and months and months of reinforcement to kind of start to recognize on his own.
Yeah.
But I actually got in trouble with the school one time. Now that we're talking about this, they sent CYF to my house. He was 17, a month away from 18, and wasn't going to school. And I got on the phone with the new principal, and I said, what do you want me to do? I was like, I can encourage, I can motivate, I can do this, I can do that. I said, I cannot physically pick up this child that is bigger than me and put him on a school bus.
Right.
And they sent my CYF to my house for neglect.
I'll be damned.
And they dismissed it. Like, once I told the guy what was going on, and we were already involved in, you know, different services to help him and whatnot. And, you know, he was like, there's nothing here. This was a waste of my time, kind of thing. And I was like, well, it's the truth. They need to learn to do this stuff on their own, or they're never going to be able to do it. Like, no offense, but I don't want 40-year-old children living in my house unless it's medically necessary.
Not at all. Not at all.
Like, we're supposed to prepare them for, otherwise it's a complete shock. Like, I'm really curious to see how some of these kids that go out into the world with no sense of responsibility and whatnot, how they function. To be honest,
aren't we seeing it though? I mean, some of the, you know, the whole snowflake meme has developed because there are so many examples of kids who are just not adequately prepared for life.
And I think I just haven't seen as much of it personally, just because you tend to surround yourself with people who are, you know, like you and my closest friends have similar parenting styles. So because I don't have much tolerance for that entitlement.
Same
crap.
here. Same here. And I don't have any people that I know in my circle that are that way. I can only do what everyone else does and watch examples, you know, out there on the news, on YouTube, and all that kind of thing. But anecdotally, I don't have any examples of that either, Bonnie. But I guess we've already surrounded ourselves with, you know, like minds.
Right.
And that's why.
Yeah. And the people that I did have that were friends that were doing that with their kids, we drifted apart. Like, I kind of stopped making contact.
Yeah.
Because it was such a stress point, and it just wasn't worth it.
That's true.
You know, because they were talking poorly about me. Like, oh, well, why do you make him do blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, why aren't you making your kids do blah, 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 blah?
Yeah.
Like, because they're my kids and those are your kids. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's how I was. I mean, my dad grew up during the Depression, so I was raised very differently than a lot of kids my age.
Yeah.
You know, there was no sense of entitlement, like none.
Right.
Like if you ever said I deserve blah 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 to your, like, that was cause for ground. I don't think I remember ever saying anything to that effect to my parents, because it was made very clear that that kind of stuff just didn't fly.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. I found it unbelievably difficult to even ask my parents for something I wanted, whether it be money or an item. I just couldn't bring myself in it, and I attributed that to the way they brought me up. Right.
Yeah, and see, and that's a good point. Like, I was babysitting at 11, like other people's kids, getting paid for it.
Sure.
And that's something you don't even see anymore. Not at that age.
I know. And I can't figure out why that is, outside of what we already talked about, but just like, good Lord, what are we doing to our kids?
A lot of it is attributed to fear.
Yeah.
Like, they fear the worst about what's going to happen if they give these kids some responsibility, because they make one poor decision, and rather than trying to guide them with better decisions, they just start making decisions for them.
Yes.
I have a close friend who has a son the same age as mine, same diagnosis, and the way decision making has happened for him and for her son is completely different. They started adopting that. Well, he can't make good decisions, so we have to make them. I'm like, he's never going to learn then.
Right.
Like, let him do dumb stuff, suffer the consequences, learn not to do that same dumb thing again. Like,
exactly.
You know?
What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
You've got to experience so that you can deal.
Yeah, accountability is huge.
Yes, and it's something that's going by the wayside, which is so sad. So sad.
And I think part of that too is, and I hate to get off topic here, but the way the school systems anymore, and even the local magistrate and court systems, things that, now I understand that we're responsible for our kids until they're 18 and whatnot, but they're levying like fines and stuff on parents for not doing XYZ, like say they miss so many days of school, or they're not cooperating with this, or they do something wrong. And it's like, there's just got to be a better way, because you're putting that responsibility on the parents to pay the fines and whatnot. Like, why not make the kid do community service? Like, my kid did community service once because he got in trouble.
Oh yeah.
And this is what you have to do when you mess up, you know, versus, you know, it's all about like the money now. And like the schools, even it's they're taking the responsibility that could be on the kids and giving it to the parents. And it's kind of backwards.
It's the same thing, right? I mean, those people that you're talking about doing that are the same parents who wouldn't put responsibility on their own kids.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So it's self-fulfilling prophecy. Actually, it's like, okay, now we're having to deal with those same parents who actually have a bit of power and control.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I ran into a lot of, like, of course I helped him get services or whatever he needed, but he had to put in the work for whatever. You know, you're here, you need to be here, you need to put in the work, this XYZ to get here, and I can't do that for you. I'll be here to help you along, but I can't, and I'm not willing to do those things for you. So
I hear you.
Careful with those, please.
Well, listen, Bonnie, we're coming up on the top of the hour, and I am so glad to know that there are more people out there like you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Honestly, I mean, there should be so many more. And the nice part about this is that other people are going to see this and hopefully, rethink their life choices.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. It was just kind of, but you're right.
So I do appreciate coming on. And like I said, you're always welcome. I want you to come back on and bounce ideas off the audience and me, of course, and love talking to you. But I'm going camping again this weekend, so I'm going to have to shut her down.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
enjoy, and I'll catch you sometime next week.
Fantastic. Thanks again, Bonnie. We will talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.